While we have delivered comprehensive proposals that seek an agreement that will benefit all, the Players Association has yet to offer a viable economic proposal, as repeatedly refused to engage in any meaningful way in many of our proposal terms. We stand ready to continue negotiating in good faith. I hope to do the same so that we can finalise a mutually beneficial CBA. It seems like one side, the WNBPA, are saying, this is what we want, handing it to them. The WNBA are like, no, this is what you're getting. This is what we want. And then the WNBPA are handing back exactly what they handed the first time. And the WNBPA are giving them a new thing. It's like, okay, yeah, you can get this.
A significant development has emerged regarding Caitlin Clark's treatment in professional basketball, with potential ramifications extending across multiple sports leagues. The situation appears to be gaining traction with federal authorities, and the Trump administration may be taking interest in examining possible civil rights concerns within the WNBA and potentially the NBA. The streets are buzzing with discussion about this matter. Anyone who thought Caitlin Clark's circumstances were isolated or insignificant would be mistaken. This appears to be merely the opening chapter of a much larger narrative. The NBA gambling controversy has been under observation for some time, and there's a growing belief that this situation could expand beyond just basketball, potentially sweeping through the WNBA, NFL, and other professional sports as the Department of Justice looks deeper into various issues.
PA are giving them a new thing. It's like, okay, yeah, you can get this, and they're like, nope, we want this. It literally seems they should just stream the negotiations and see who's telling the truth, as often is the case in corporate situations where foul play can be on side, but both sides operating to go of reaching a viable agreement, not sabotaging the season. I think the WNBPA are a lot more likely to want season cancelled than the WNBA, than the league itself. I think that they are absolutely going to.
Months back, predictions were made that the Trump administration would eventually turn its attention to sports leagues. The expectation was that the WNBA would face scrutiny first due to Caitlin Clark's treatment and questionable officiating decisions. However, recent events suggest the NBA may be facing investigations sooner than anticipated. Stephen A. Smith has been among the prominent voices, advocating for these probes and raising awareness about potential problems. The Caitlin Clark civil rights matter has been tracked extensively from its earliest stages.
Going to be okay if this league. I think they'll be fine with the league being cancelled. It is, and now you've got the WNBPA director. When the players opted out a year ago, they made clear they wanted the salaries and the values their labor to grow. The league's response has been to run out the clock, put lipstick on a pig, and retread a system that isn't tied to any part of business and intentionally undervalues the players. The fact the league now wants to call any part pros on.
This represents a major news development, the kind that requires careful coverage to properly connect all the relevant elements. The whole situation surrounding Caitlin Clark's treatment seems to have been forgotten by many observers, but there's a crucial piece of evidence that shouldn't be overlooked. The Wall Street Journal published commentary stating that if the league refuses to take action protecting its superstars from a hostile environment, government intervention should occur. This was specifically examining the WNBA's handling of these issues. Here's where things get interesting.
Any part of business intentionally undervalues the players. The fact the league now wants to call any part pros uncapped is precisely why its leadership, transparency, and accountability has been challenged. What the league and teams are really trying to do is not only limit the cost of labour, but contain it through an artificial salary system that isn't tied to the business and players are building in any real or meaningful way. They know it's bad when the best they can do is more the same, a fixed salary system with revenue sharing. So this is obviously before. So this came out an hour ago, 8:45 p.m. my time, and this came out at 9:37. So this came out. So basically, the WNBPA came out and said, the NBA haven't done this. The NBA are like, yeah.
There's a theory that the entire situation around Caitlin Clark has triggered the current FBI investigation into sports gambling. While that particular investigation has been ongoing for years, the Clark situation may have accelerated momentum for what's developing in women's basketball. Going back to August, Stephen A. Smith was already sounding alarms. During a broadcast, he explained that various matters have caught the administration's attention. He made clear he wasn't just speculating randomly, he had connections to sources indicating this was something President Trump might eventually address.
I haven't done this. The NBA are like, yes, we have. Yes, we have. Like, it is... It's mad. It genuinely is mad. I have to say, it's one of those things where I don't know. Who's more?
Smith warned that if Trump decided this issue could resonate with his base, if they concluded Caitlin Clark was being unfairly targeted, and if his supporters rallied around what she represents, it would create serious problems for the WNBA. When asked if he was suggesting an investigation had merit, Smith clarified his position. He noted that a senator had already examined the situation. Members of the administration had reportedly considered it based on what he was hearing. Given Trump's history with the NFL and his well-known interest in sports, NFL, attending games and following developments, NFL, this type of issue could energize his political base. Smith emphasized he was speaking from a place of support for the WNBA.
Who's more? I wonder who's more likely to be lying. The thing is, they said here the fact the leagues now has got any part proposal uncapped. They've said it's uncapped. Like, I'd say both. There's probably your side, my side, and the truth situation. Like, that's probably what it is. This is probably a your side, my side, and the truth. I would say there is likely.
He wanted the league to thrive, wanted the players to earn their money and achieve success. But he was issuing a warning, be cautious, because if Trump and his base became involved and embraced the narrative that Caitlin Clark was being victimized, it could spell trouble. He directed his message to officials, the WNBA organization, and players in the league, stressing he wanted to help prevent problems rather than create them. However, ignoring the situation or pretending it wasn't happening wouldn't make it disappear. The timing of the Wall Street Journal article, coming weeks after players wore controversial t-shirts and right before collective bargaining negotiations, wasn't coincidental. That warning came months ago.
It's likely a case of the neither being correct. I would say that both sides are probably slightly in the right, slightly in the wrong. Or slightly telling the truth, slightly lying. Because there's no way that they can be out here and... Like, there's just no way. There's no way that the WNBA...
For anyone believing this has no connection to Caitlin Clark, a reality check may be coming. More recently, Smith returned to the topic with renewed urgency. He referenced his background in political coverage and reminded viewers how frequently he'd predicted Trump's approach to various situations. During the Super Bowl, when Bad Bunny was performing, there were reports that ICE might conduct deportation operations. The NBA had a big night when Rihanna delivered an impressive performance, but that achievement got overshadowed by emerging controversies. Smith pointed out Trump's extensive history with the sports world through his casino businesses.
There's no way that the the league would be lying. They could well be. It just feels hard to believe. Like, it actually just feels hard to believe that they could be out here just lying and when they have a lot more to lose. Like, the league has way more to lose by lying than the...
When people wanted to gamble, party, or visit casinos, many ended up in Trump's establishments. This created deep connections to sports culture. The warning then became more specific and direct. Don't be surprised if the WNBA becomes the next target. With protests against Trump and various forms of opposition, he's pursuing those he perceives as adversaries. This pattern has been consistent and predictable. The latest sports gambling investigation provides fresh evidence of this approach. While nobody knows the full legitimacy of the current case, anyone familiar with Trump, his reactions to sports leagues, and positions people have taken against him shouldn't be shocked by what's unfolding. The fact that the FBI director held a press conference about sports-related matters is highly unusual. Athletes have faced legal troubles before, accusations have been made previously, but seeing the FBI director personally conducting a press conference is rare. This wasn't coincidental or accidental. It was a deliberate statement and a warning that more developments are coming. The seriousness of this situation cannot be overstated. From Trump's perspective, people tried to imprison him. He considers himself innocent, believes they attempted to incarcerate him, and now he's going after everyone he views as responsible. He's not playing games about this. Conversations with people throughout the NBA, NFL, and broader sports world reveal a common belief. This is merely the beginning. Multiple sources describe the current situation as just the tip of the iceberg. Nobody knows exactly where this will lead, but it's deeply concerning and disheartening. Everyone should prepare themselves for what may follow. The implications for Caitlin Clark could be substantial. She may see significant compensation or changes to her situation. Multiple connected stories are emerging, building on previous warnings and analysis. This promises to be an extraordinarily lengthy and eventful offseason, particularly for the WNBA. What's about to unfold in professional sports may be unprecedented. Donald Trump is approaching this with full seriousness and commitment to law and order. The notion that America's sweetheart Caitlin Clark won't receive justice, or that those responsible for her treatment won't face consequences, seems highly unlikely. The situation suggests accountability may finally be coming, and justice for Caitlin Clark appears to be on the horizon. The WNBA has issued a formal rebuttal to the WNBPA's recent claims. An interesting distinction exists here. The Players Association didn't make explicit declarations but rather suggested things through social media posts. This creates a sharp contrast between a formal legal statement from the league, which carries lawsuit potential if false, versus vague social media implications from the union that carried an unprofessional tone about not wanting to share resources. Adam Silver characterized the Players Association's assertions as both inaccurate and shocking. The claim being disputed is that the WNBA hasn't presented an unlimited revenue-sharing structure connected to league success. According to the league's official statement, their detailed offer to the athletes contains a revenue-sharing element where compensation rises alongside league income without any ceiling on potential earnings. The league expressed frustration that the union was spreading false information about their offers while simultaneously blaming the organization for dragging out discussions. The WNBA emphasized this accusation holds no validity. The league's position states they've submitted thorough proposals aimed at reaching a deal beneficial to everyone, yet the Player Association hasn't presented a workable financial counteroffer and has consistently declined to meaningfully discuss many proposal elements. The organization remains prepared to keep bargaining honestly and expects similar conduct to reach a mutually advantageous collective bargaining agreement. The situation appears to involve the WNBPA declaring their demands and submitting them, while the WNBA responds with their own terms. The league seemingly returns nearly identical offers each round. The Players Association attempts new compromises, suggesting flexibility on certain points, but receives the same response from management, insisting on their original terms. Broadcasting these discussions could reveal which party speaks truthfully. Corporate disputes often involve questionable behavior from either side, though both typically work toward reaching workable terms rather than destroying the season. However, the Players Association appears significantly more willing to accept season cancellation than the league administration itself. There's reasonable belief the union would be comfortable with the entire season being scratched. The WNBPA leadership and athletes opted out a year earlier, making their desire for improved salaries and recognition of their work's value crystal clear.